Hey everybody, it's Trags, Mike Petralia, again inside TD Garden alongside Josue Pavone once again of WEEI and CLNS Media. Celtics take care of business in very impressive fashion here in game number 2, 120 to 106 over the Milwaukee Bucks. I thought, Josue, the Celtics exerted their will from the jump. They had so much more energy, and Joe Prunty told us in the post-game news conference, the Milwaukee head coach, the Celtics brought the energy, we did not.
Yeah, he's going to have to get some sort of energy from some of his guys here. He talked about how he just needs other guys to step up here. I mean, he turned to Tony Snell. He didn't, he came up short. He turned to Bledsoe once again, another lackluster performance. He turned to Tyler Zeller early in the first quarter, nothing. And the Celtics just continue to remind the Bucks why they're so deep and why they have so many weapons. And you saw them set the tone again in that first quarter. Jaylen Brown, one heck of a game, of course, 30 points, kicked things off by attacking the basket, slashing through the defenders. It seems like they just couldn't slow him down tracks between him going to the hoop and, of course, knocking down those three-pointers like he tends to do, throughout this entire season.
Well, and really, Brad Stevens talked about this. Jaylen Brown himself talked about it. He's turning into a different type of player now, much more aggressive, much more assertive. I thought one of the great moments of the game, not just the left-handed tomahawk jam that he had in the first quarter, but right behind you, a corner three in the third quarter. He dribbled once on the pass from Terry Rozier, measured it, and when that ball left his hand, he knew, and everybody else in the building pretty much knew, that was going in for a three. That was a big moment in the game right there.
Trags, it looked like he pushed that ball through the hoop. I mean, he was just one of those. It was one of those nights for him where it seemed like the rim was just humongous for him, and he couldn't miss a shot. He seemed eager to get the ball, eager to take those shots, eager to knock them down, and that's the kind of attitude you want to see from him. Listen, this is a team that, for their advantage, you don't necessarily know who's going to be that guy night in and night out. You have an idea, one or two, three guys, and that's a great problem to have right now against a team like the Milwaukee Bucks that just cannot get some sort of consistent offense, from guys that are not named Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton.
All right. For the second straight game, I think this is maybe the most impressive stat of all for the Celtics. Second straight game, their primary ball handler, Terry Rozier, goose egg in the turnover column. That is going to win you playoff basketball every single time. The Celtics only had 6 turnovers as a team here on Tuesday night in game number 2. What impressed you the most about the way not only the Celtics are taking care of the ball, but they stay aggressive offensively at the same time?
The ball movement, the focus, I think that's been really impressive. Terry Rozier, I mean, he's just a constant threat. So I feel like the backcourt, Milwaukee's backcourt, just tends to really, he shakes things up the way he's able to rattle them. And defensively, I just feel like the Milwaukee Bucks just cannot stick with the Celtics through, pick and rolls, pick and pops, the tempo, the pace. I mean, it was the Celtics leading the momentum. It was their momentum throughout pretty much the entire game. There was one point where they pulled really close. The Milwaukee Bucks did manage to have, a 4-point lead at one point, but it was short-lived. The Celtics just continued to take it to them offensively, and I think that's just been the biggest problem. Listen, the Bucks, they shot 60%. I mean, let's not forget that. The fact that they shot 60% but still lost this game by almost 20 points just speaks volumes as to how they need to buckle down defensively, and the Celtics are just not making it easy for them.
Well, and the Bucks are not taking care of the ball. I mean, yes, they're shooting a very high percentage, but not making the most of their possessions. And again, I asked Joe Prunty if he thought maybe too many people in the dark uniform were looking towards the Greek Freak tonight to bail him out, and he said, well, no, Giannis did what he does, and we want him to have the ball in his hands a lot, but sometimes we just collapsed on offense, and when that kind of execution falls apart, you're not going to win, especially on the road.
Yeah, especially when you get hit in the mouth the way the Celtics hit them in the first quarter, in the first half. The second half, you're expecting them to bounce back, and just when they did, the Celtics would just double down on what they did in the first half. I think Prunty has to sort of figure out a way for this team to not only mix and match rotations, but really set up guys. I feel like a lot of guys, again, not named Middleton and Antetokounmpo, are just not getting consistent touches or consistent looks. That's something we could see. Brogdon is a guy who I was really surprised to not see him in the fourth quarter. I mean, he didn't have a spectacular first 3 quarters, but he certainly sort of neutralized the floor when he entered in the first quarter. He scored 6 quick points and kind of slowed things down for the Celtics. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Malcolm Brogdon is going to be the guy to sort of, win the game for them, but he is a guy who can really change the momentum a bit, push things over to the Milwaukee Bucks' favor. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think he's one guy. Also, Tony Snell, I think he's someone that they really need to contribute. And like I said earlier, Tyler Zeller is a guy who came in early. I still think there's a game where Tyler Zeller could drop, 11, 12 points here, just sort of give these guys a push on this, for the second unit. But look at the Celtics. I mean, 6 guys in double figures. I mean, it's just a lot for the Bucks to handle right now.
guy that's played very well down the stretch who has not played well here in the first 2 games, Jabari Parker. He's got to show up as well. Again, the Celtics take care of business. Here in game number 2, they beat the Milwaukee Bucks behind Jaylen Brown's 30 points and Terry Rozier's 23. 120 to 106. We'll have complete coverage on CLNS Media. Inside TD Garden for the Garden Report, he is Josue Pavone. I'm Mike Petralia, CLNS Media.